The word on the streets from Iran is that the internet just came back up yesterday. And there are two communities. There are those who were protesting who actually witnessed the killing, the mob, the issues that were taking place. And then there's the Iranians that are just sitting home not doing anything. And now they're seeing videos saying, wait a minute, this is what the regime is doing? And so the death toll you're hearing about, the lowest number confirmed by Reuters and others, is around 5,100. The number you heard from a human rights organization yesterday was 43,000, and Iranians in the streets are saying 70+ thousand. It's a travesty what's going on right now in Iran. Everyone's waiting to see what the president's going to be doing next.
Iran just made a move into Iraq, causing even more disturbance and turmoil in the Middle East as the flotation of American ships is heading towards the Strait of Hormuz to establish a military stance against the Iranians. In the region, of course, American ships, along with American might, is what now would be considered breaking news with this report, which confirms the escalating tensions between the U.S. and Iran, with the horrific numbers emerging regarding the Iranian protests. Up near 40,000 plus people are considered dead from the riots in the streets in Iran. The Middle East is on fire, and we're here to bring you the updated news and reports on what's currently going down on the American News Network. Stay tuned as we bring you all the current news and events, and we'll still listen to the rest of Patrick Bet-David as he brings us the interesting take on this situation in Iran and Iraq, as he's Iranian.
Our next guest family fled Iran. He served in the U.S. Army, and he is the founder of Valuetainment. Patrick Bet-David joins us now.
The word on the streets from Iran is that the internet just came back up yesterday. And there are two communities. There are those who were protesting who actually witnessed the killing, the mob, the issues that were taking place. And then there's the Iranians that are just sitting home not doing anything. And now they're seeing videos saying, wait a minute, this is what the regime is doing? And so the death toll you're hearing about, the lowest number confirmed by Reuters and others, is around 5,100. The number you heard from a human rights organization yesterday was 43,000, and Iranians in the streets are saying 70+ thousand. It's a travesty what's going on right now in Iran. Everyone's waiting to see what the president's going to be doing next.
So, you know, we often think about the internet shutdown as being as affecting the ability to get those images out of the country to the rest of the world so that we can see it. But I hadn't really thought about this. But of course, those people living in Iran are also unable to see what's going on, but they have some sense of it, of what's going on, even if they're not out there protesting.
They have some sense of it, but you have to realize, imagine if we lived in a world where we only had two news stations controlled by the government. There is no internet, there is no Facebook, there is no YouTube, there is no TikTok, there is no Instagram, and we have no idea what's going on. And all we have to do is listen to these two channels telling us what's going on. The interesting part is, they said, the government said, the IRGC said, they were not going to release the internet to the people till March 20th, which is Eid al-Nowruz, the New Year for the Iranian people, but they dropped it yesterday. I don't know why. Maybe it's a way of them saying to the president that, hey, we are willing to let the Iranians be free. Please, if you're coming down here with your fleet of, you know, a model of 5,000 soldiers are on their way, please don't do anything. I don't know yet. This is a very manipulative regime that tends to bully their people, their own people. Talk big game on TV on what they're going to do to the president, but when it comes down to a fight, they don't do anything.
All right, Patrick, let's walk through what is coming next. If you go back to December 28th, that's when the protests began, with shopkeepers upset about inflation over 40% and a devalued currency. But then, of course, we get through President Trump being briefed. He gets involved. He's raising concerns of more and more vocal Trump, causes the 800 executions that were planned for protesters to be canceled. But then we've been seeing all of the out-of-control violence getting out of Iran despite the internet blackout. The Trump administration now targeting the shadow fleet of those oil tankers, and the USS Abraham Lincoln and Carrier Strike Group is now getting into position. What do you see as coming next? And do you see someone like exiled Crown Prince Reza Pahlavi, who just recently met with Corina Maria Machado, the opposition leader in Venezuela? They met and discussed it. Do you see Pahlavi as the successor here, despite the White House is telling Fox Digital, we don't really know who's coming next?
So the question becomes the following. Can Reza Pahlavi do it alone without the president? The answer is absolutely no, or else he would have done it the last 48 years. He's failed the last 47 years to bring freedom to Iran. So the main player here becomes the president. Let's study the president's patterns. So the day they went in, he's throwing a jab with all these boats in Venezuela, and then all of a sudden, the knockout punch, we have Maduro. And then everyone's like, oh my God, Maria Corina Machado is going to come back, and Edmundo Gonzalez, they're going to run it. And then, Maria Corina Machado knew this day was coming. She's going to give the Nobel Prize back. She gives it to the president and hands it to him, and it's a celebration, but the president still doesn't do anything. So if you look at that pattern, here's a woman that's lived in Venezuela her entire life. Here's Reza Pahlavi, who's lived in America for 48 years. If the case study here is they did not feel comfortable with her being the transition, do you think they're going to feel comfortable with Reza Pahlavi? I'm just purely studying the facts and the patterns that I'm noticing.
So what you're, if the president right now is debating whether to do something or not. Are you saying, or is he saying, we're not going to do anything until we have somebody who can replace this regime? What does the president do? Should he get involved, or should he stand back and wait?
There's two things you have to think about when you impose or you threaten a leader publicly, okay? One is you threaten me publicly, you hurt your people, I have to attack you. Because you can't publicly talk like that to the greatest country in the world, America. So that's one. Let's separate that. Number two is what happens after the attack. So the president and his team, I'm not in the room to be thinking about what I'm just purely speculating. They're either going to sit there and say, what's the point of the attack? If we're going to attack, if we're going to get Khamenei, if we're going to get rid of these people, are we doing it to replace with somebody, and who is that candidate? Is it Reza Pahlavi? To be honest with you, there's no other vocal person right now that you can think about. Nobody. And in Iran, there may be, but they're not even allowing somebody to come up to create momentum. So the president is going to have to make a decision. If the attack does take place, one of the reasons for the attack is you're publicly humiliating and killing people for no reasons. Yeah, this is not going to happen on my watch. But the regime change, I think that's a very technical conversation.
Interesting.
Patrick Bet-David, thank you for your insight, as always.
They promised the United States the executions would stop. They lied. We have just received confirmation that the Iranian regime has begun secretly executing protesters.
The USS Abraham Lincoln Carrier Strike Group entered the Strait of Hormuz. 5 warships, 4,700 personnel, $13 billion in assets, moving through 21 miles of water Iran had spent 2 decades fortifying.
Is again in the crosshairs of the U.S. military might after days of speculation. Trump has confirmed that U.S. naval and air assets are indeed positioning themselves near Iran, while an IRGC commander, they have their fingers on the trigger, and that any U.S. attack will be treated as an all-out war.
Now, the war of words between the U.S. and Iran is heating up.
Horrific numbers that are coming out. It was the International Center for Human Rights published results. As many as 43,000 Iranians have been killed by the regime.
Sandra, good afternoon. We start with this breaking news. Iran's Kurdistan Freedom Party tells Fox News their military wing in Iraq came under fire overnight in a drone attack that was launched by Iran.
Iranian missiles are now striking northern Iraq. They are targeting the Kurdish group helping the protesters. The war has officially expanded, just 24 hours after the Iranian parliament speaker warned that the only way to save the regime is to spread the conflict.
We do not pay attention to Trump's bluster. He knows that if any hand is raised to assault our leader, we will not only cut off that hand decisively and courageously, and this is not just rhetoric, but we will set their world on fire. We will strip them of any security and leave no safe place for them.
We have an armada. We have a massive fleet heading in that direction, and maybe we won't have to use it. We'll see.
The U.S. moving military assets to the Middle East as action against the regime, but with who would come next?